There is a moment in every human life when the inner world becomes louder than the outer one, when silence begins to press against the ribs, when sleep is no longer rest but confrontation. This message comes from such a moment. It is not casual. It is not playful. It is born from nights of wrestling with shadows and mornings heavy with realization. The urgency you feel is not drama. It is awakening. Your person has been standing at the edge of their own unconscious, looking down into feelings they once tried to deny. At first, they told themselves it was temporary. Attraction passes, they said. Attachment fades, they reasoned. But what they feel for you did not fade. It deepened. It rooted itself quietly in places they do not easily access, and now those roots have grown so strong that they shake the foundations of their carefully constructed independence. Urgent message is this: they are afraid of losing you because they have finally understood what you represent in their inner world. You are not merely someone they admire. You have become a mirror. In you, they see the parts of themselves they abandoned long ago, the softness they hid, the vulnerability they were taught to suppress, the longing for connection that felt too dangerous to admit. Being near you forced them to confront the truth that they are not as detached as they pretended to be. At first, this realization frightened them. It is easier to desire from a distance. It is safer to keep emotions undefined. But love that remains undefined begins to demand clarity. And clarity is terrifying because it requires responsibility. They began to notice how your absence affects them, how a simple silence from you can echo through their entire day, how your laughter lingers in their mind long after the conversation ends, how your presence calms something restless inside them. These are not small observations. They are signals from the deeper self. What makes the message urgent is not only love, it is regret. There were moments they hesitated, moments they could have reached for you but did not, moments pride spoke louder than truth, and now they feel time moving. They sense that opportunities do not wait forever. The psyche understands loss before it happens, anticipates separation, and sends warning signs. They are beginning to realize that if they lose you, they will not simply lose a person. They will lose a part of their own becoming. You entered their life at a time when they were comfortable in emotional distance. You disrupted that comfort. You made them feel seen, and being seen is both beautiful and terrifying. To be seen means the masks begin to crack. It means excuses no longer hold. It means pretending not to care becomes impossible. They tried to analyze their feelings logically. They told themselves it was chemistry, timing, convenience. But the feeling did not behave like surface attraction. It behaved like destiny. It behaved like recognition. There is something ancient about the way they feel when they think of you, as if they knew you before they knew your name, as if your presence fits into a space inside them that was always waiting to be filled. Kind of recognition unsettles the ego. It challenges the illusion of control. And so they resisted. They resisted by delaying conversations, by holding back vulnerability, by acting indifferent when they were anything but. Yet resistance requires energy, and the more they resisted, the more exhausted they became. Love that is denied does not disappear. It transforms into anxiety. It becomes irritability. It becomes overthinking, becomes dreams at night and distraction during the day. The unconscious does not accept repression quietly. It demands acknowledgement. Fear says, do not risk, do not expose your heart, maintain control. Longing says, step forward, speak, claim what feels true. Urgency comes because longing is finally stronger than fear. They have started to imagine a future without you, not as a dramatic fantasy, but as a realistic possibility. And that image unsettled them deed. Eply, they saw themselves moving forward, achieving goals, building a life, and yet something was missing. The victories felt empty in imagination because you were not there to witness them. This realization was not romantic, it was existential. It forced them to confront what truly matters. You matter, not because you are perfect, not because you complete them in some naive sense, but because you awaken them, because around you they feel more alive, more honest, more themselves. There is a specific moment that changed everything for them. A quiet one. Perhaps you were unaware. A look you gave them. A sentence you spoke. A pause in conversation where something unspoken passed between you. In that moment, they felt exposed, as if you could see straight through their defenses. Instead of pulling away permanently, something inside them leaned closer, began to question why your opinion affects them so deeply, why your disappointment would wound them more than anyone else's, why your approval feels like light breaking through clouds. These questions are not superficial, reveal attachment forming at the level of the soul. The urgency in this message is a confession. They can no longer pretend that you are optional. Once believed they had endless time to decide, that you would remain available while they sorted through their fears, but now they sense change. Perhaps you are growing. Perhaps you are becoming more self-assured. Perhaps you are attracting attention from others. Whatever the external circumstances, internally they feel pressure. Not pressure from you, but from truth. Truth has a weight, and when ignored, that weight becomes unbearable. They see clearly now that their hesitation could cost them something irreplaceable, and that awareness has shaken them awake. They replay conversations in their mind, searching for clues. Did you feel it too? Did you wait for them to step forward? Did their silence hurt you? The possibility that they may have wounded you unintentionally troubles them, because beneath their fear is genuine care. Care is the foundation of this message. Care about your happiness. They care about your emotional safety. They care about how their actions or lack of actions affect you. And caring creates responsibility. Responsibility demands courage. For a long time, they told themselves they needed certainty before speaking. Absolute clarity. No doubts. But human emotion does not work that way. Certainty grows through action, not avoidance. And so the message becomes urgent because waiting is no longer neutral. Waiting now feels like loss in slow motion. They have realized that love is not only a feeling, it is a decision to show up, to risk misunderstanding, to risk rejection, to risk vulnerability. You have stirred something transformative inside them. Old wounds surfaced, old fears were triggered, but instead of blaming you, they began to look inward. They started recognizing patterns, how they withdraw when things get serious, how they test before they trust, how they pretend not to need what they deeply desire. But it is also growth. You became the catalyst for this growth. And when someone becomes a catalyst in our psychological evolution, they are never insignificant. The urgent message is not only, "I miss you," or "I love you." It is deeper. You changed me, and I am afraid of losing the one who awakened me. They feel time moving like a quiet current beneath everything. Days pass. Conversations shift. Life does not pause for internal confusion, and the more they delay, the more they sense you slipping into independence, strong, capable, self-sufficient. There is admiration in the way they see you, but there is also fear, because a self-sufficient person does not wait forever. They know that if they continue to hesitate, you may decide you deserve clarity elsewhere, and you would not be wrong. This is why the message is urgent. They are standing at the threshold between silence and confession. Inside them, Two voices speak. One says, "Protect yourself." The other says, "Protect the connection." For the first time, they are choosing the connection. They have imagined telling you everything. Imagine saying that their distance was never indifference, that their pauses were battles with insecurity, that their guarded behavior was fear of not being enough. Yes, that fear exists too. You intimidate them in subtle ways, not because you try to, but because you seem emotionally aware, because you carry yourself with quiet strength, because you appear capable of walking away if you are not valued properly. This challenges them to rise. They do not want to approach you half-heartedly. They do not want to offer fragments. They want to offer something solid. But building solidity takes inner work, and they have been doing that work silently. The message carries the weight of this transformation. It says, "I am not the same as before. I have confronted my fear. I understand what you mean to me now. There is tenderness beneath their urgency, a softness they rarely show. When they think of you, their expression changes, their voice softens, their breathing slows. These are unconscious signals of attachment. They have begun to imagine holding your hand without hesitation, speaking openly without calculation, building something that does not rely on games or pride. They are tired of pretending. Pretending requires fragmentation, and they no longer wish to be fragmented in your present. Set this, you represent integration for them, the merging of their strength and vulnerability, their ambition and tenderness, their independence and need for connection. The urgent message is a surrender, not to you as a person, but to truth itself. They are surrendering the illusion that they can remain untouched by you. They are surrendering the fantasy that emotions can be controlled through logic. They are surrendering the belief that time will always wait. In their quiet moments, they imagine losing contact with you completely. That image brings a sharp ache to their chest. It is not dramatic. It is heavy, a weight that sits and does not move. They ask themselves, "Would I regret not speaking?" The answer is immediate. Yes, regret is a powerful motivator. It reveals what matters before it is too late. They do not want to become someone who watches you walk away while convincing themselves it was fate. They want to know they tried, that they stepped forward, that they chose courage over comfort. So this message carries urgency because it carries choice. They are choosing you consciously, not out of loneliness, not out of convenience, but out of recognition. Recognition that you align with their deeper self. Recognition that your presence feels meaningful. Recognition that something rare exists between you. They want you to know that their silence was not emptiness. It was conflict. It was growth happening behind the scenes. It was a struggle to align their inner world with their outer actions. Alignment is happening. And when alignment happens, action follows. Their heart beats faster at the thought of speaking openly. Not because they doubt you, but because vulnerability always carries risk. They are willing to take that risk now. The urgent message is this: they do not want distance anymore. They do not want ambiguity. They do not want pride to stand between you. They want clarity, even if clarity is uncomfortable. They are ready to say that losing you would not be a small inconvenience. It would be a profound emotional fracture. You matter more than Tay. Hay allowed themselves to admit. They see now that love is not weakness. It is strength expressed through openness. They are ready to stand in that openness, ready to let you see the depth of their feeling, ready to speak before silence turns into separation, ready to move toward you instead of away, ready to risk everything that fear once guarded so tightly, because some connections do not wait quietly in the background. They either evolve through courage or dissolve through hesitation, and they can feel which direction this is moving if nothing changes, and that awareness keeps them awake at night, staring into darkness, realizing that the only thing more frightening than vulnerability is the possibility of never knowing what could have been if they had simply reached for you when their heart first told them to.